moving from the conversation around services within the regions to specifically on housing and then living options. So how does that play a role in, how does it exacerbate the problem of finding the right housing situation?
Housing in Western Australia is really challenging at the moment, and it's causing all sorts of problems. We're fortunate in our region in that the majority of our support workers, people don't tend to have either lived in the region already or come with a partner who has another job. Maybe they get a house with that job. But that doesn't mean it's not hard, and sometimes rents in some of our larger regional centres can be huge. I think the average rent in a town like in Busselton, which is a beautiful coastal area, but a big regional city for Western Australia, they're around $600 a week average. That's a lot of money for a support worker to pay if they're living on their own for an average house, say. The lack of access to universally fitted out accommodation, but also to sort of accommodation that's what's it called? The type of accommodation which the state government provides for people who are less well off. It's really social housing. Thank you. Sorry, social housing. It's really, really important because there is a real lack of social housing at the moment in Western Australia. And now that's not a secret. That the budget last week was very clear that they're investing a lot of money in that. But that's some years out.
And how about if you have participants who are high physical need clients or would want to live independently, and how is the current housing stock, which is
pretty ordinary
in the regions?
It's pretty ordinary, frankly. Some people have their own houses and they've been modified and they do okay. There's a growing supported disability accommodation services starting to run. They're okay. I think, unfortunately, there's a bit of work to do there to make sure that the SDA type accommodation that's being built matches the plans, because at the moment there's a lot of fancy SDA accommodation being built with not that big enough plans stretching for the developers to get their returns that they've been expecting. I think there's a huge need to sort of face up to the fact that social housing needs to be a real focus, and I don't think it needs to be incredibly fancy. You can do all sorts of stuff relatively quickly, relatively easily, if you actually want to. Look at the boom in other countries of tiny houses. People are responding to that market of people wanting to have a tiny house. Well, I would have thought there's an opportunity to do that in Western Australia as well. I'm not sure what the model needs to look like, but I know that there are people out there who would jump at the chance were they given that to be able to do that. The problem we've got in Western Australia is post-COVID is access to materials, equipment, staff, all that sort of stuff. How do we get there? I think we've got to start. Have a plan, have a way of raising the profile of this to make it like a high level urgency, not just something that's nice to do, and not sort of accept that it's okay not to do it.